Welcome to another video from Guilao 60. Are the Chinese free to do what they want? How much freedom do they actually have? I guess it all depends on what do you consider freedom to be. The meaning of the word, or the meaning of the term freedom, means different things to different people from different parts of the world. To me, freedom means being able to go out at 1 or 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, or walk home from the bar at 2:30 in the morning, or have your wife ride the e-bike home at midnight on a Saturday night, knowing that she's safe. That's a form of freedom right there. Being in a country that is so totally safe that you don't worry about being assaulted, being robbed, being stabbed or shot, or just being harassed if you're a female. So in China, oh, they've got freedom in spades on something like that. Showing up at a park at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, laying down on a park bench and going to sleep, putting with your cell phone and everything in your pockets, and not having to worry about anything. See, that safeness thing there too, that freedom of being safe in a country, that's worth a lot. To me, that's worth more than Google and Facebook, not being able to have Google and Facebook all in one. Being able to go wherever you want, and having that transportation so easily available to you, the subways, the buses, the trains, the high-speed trains, the airplanes, the taxis, e-bikes, rental bicycles on the street for 1 or 2 RMB. Now they've got electric vehicles that you can just scan your WeChat ID into it and jump in the car and drive away. They've got e-bikes. Yes, rental e-bikes. So to get around, the freedom of being able to get around China has made it's so simple. That's a form of freedom, to be able to go wherever you want, whenever you want, however you want, and never having to worry about how you're going to be able to get there. I know there's going to be those naysayers out there that say, oh, you have no freedom, you can't access the internet, you don't have the freedom of speech, you can't get Google, and you can't get Facebook, and you can't get this and that and the other thing on the internet. The internet is throttled, censored. You can't access whatever you want. Well, there's more to life than accessing the internet. I know when I grew up, I didn't even know how to turn a computer on until 1993, I think it was, when I was going to SciAst on a business administration course. So before that, the first 30-some years of my life, no cell phones, no computers. Actually, that's a sort of a form of freedom in itself, not being tied to computers, to cell phones. I'm not saying the Chinese are not tied to their computers and cell phones, because they are some of the worst in the world. To be walking down the street looking at their cell phone, riding e-bikes looking at their cell phone, driving cars looking at their cell phone, sitting in a restaurant, 10 people around a table, everyone looking at their cell phone. You know, so but the idea that the internet's throttled and censored, that doesn't bother me in the least. Yes, and the communist government. Okay, you got one government in Beijing that runs the entire country of China, and everybody's saying, oh, there's no freedom there because it's communist, and the one government runs the whole country. And okay, now it's just after the federal election in Canada, and you've got Alberta and Saskatchewan that went totally conservative, except for one NDP riding in Edmonton. I have no idea. Maybe she's a good gal or whatever, and people liked her. But because Ontario and Quebec have the population, yes, the population, it really doesn't matter what Western Canada wants. So you get these Eastern people that make the rules for the whole country, and the West has to send money to the East, and the West is getting poorer and poorer, and they have no say over it. Do they have freedom? Oh, for sure, they get to go vote. Their vote doesn't count, mind you, but they get to go vote. So it's a form of fake freedom, I guess. Well, it is, because like you got Alberta and you got Saskatchewan, and they don't want to be sending money to Eastern Canada, to Quebec. Quebec's got a surplus. Alberta has a deficit, but Alberta's got to send Quebec money. No, see, in China, with the communist government, everybody is pretty well treated the same, except for, yeah, some of those Xinjiang boys and whatever. But overall, most every district in China gets money for infrastructure. They don't play one side against the other. Like in the campaign that Trudeau ran there, he pitted Quebec against Saskatchewan and Alberta, dividing the country. Why would he do that? Because there's more people in Ontario and Quebec, so he gets more votes and he gets in to be Prime Minister. It's not about doing the right thing for everybody. It's doing the right thing for the majority of the people in an area of the country. So the rest of the country goes to rat shit, and the eastern part of the country gets whatever they want because they have the population. It's sort of like extorting cash and Serbifying the western provinces to the extreme, and that's freedom? I don't think so. There's been a lot of talk about in China you only lease your property for 70 years, and then yeah, okay, you lease your property for 70 years, so you really don't own it. The government or the country owns all of the property. Individuals don't own property. Individuals don't pay property tax. So the West is way more free in the fact that people actually own their properties in the West. So if you don't pay your property tax in say Canada, the United States, the government comes and takes your house away. So it's really not yours. It's yours on paper until you don't pay the government taxes, and then it's a government. So is it really yours, or is it the government's? Think about that. Here, at least they don't sugarcoat it. They say, yeah, it's a lease for 70 years. But you know what? That lease renews itself every time it turns over hands. And I don't know anybody in China that's owned a property for 70 years, because people just don't live that long. It's like, and I think that's what the rule is based on. So the freedom of owning property is a fallacy too. China has just as much freedom in owning property, or probably more, than any country in the West. Because yes, on my apartment, you know how much property tax I pay on my apartment? Zero, exactly. So I've got a 3-bedroom apartment right by the university, and my condo fees cost me 600 RMB, so just over $100 Canadian a year. No property tax. We don't insure it because cement don't burn. You know where I'm going with this. Water is like $5 every month. Electricity is about $20 a month, and that's average out over the year. So the freedom of not having to bust your ass every month to make those big bills that you do in the West. See, that's another form of freedom that the Chinese have over the West in spades. It's just like, my God, it's a freer society just for the fact that people don't have to worry about the finances. They don't have to worry about taxes. They don't have to, they don't have to worry about all those extra things. I notice when I come to China that my output of cash goes way down. Not because it's cheaper here to buy things. It's just that I don't have to pay $75 or $80 or $100 for internet connection. I don't have to have insurance and plates on my vehicle because I use the subway. Sam here works good. Oh, and that's another thing. I can get on Sam, my e-bike, and ride anywhere I want in the city. No helmet, no license, nothing. Form of freedom? Oh yeah, most people that ride motorcycles would say, well, that's the ultimate freedom, man. You know what I mean? Like, it's it's a different world here, and it's a freer world. When I come out of Canada and I land in China, the weight of the world is off my shoulders, because I know that here you can pretty well do it whatever you want, go wherever you want, say and do whatever you want, and nobody really gives a rat's ass. And they say, oh, but you can't say anything you want. Well, yeah, because you know what? The government doesn't care what I say. The government is running 1.4 billion people. One or two people say, I don't like this or I don't like that. They go, whatever. Like, it's not like you see it in the Western media, guys. It's just not that way. I really think the fallacy of China not being a free society comes from the Western media. The people that don't understand or know China, the people that only listen to what's on the news, they got to make themselves sound better than the Chinese because they want you to feed into their political bullshit, whether it be Republican or Democrat, liberal or conservative, NDP or whatever. It really doesn't make any difference, because they're all doing the same thing. They all want the same thing. They want to control your money. They want to get a large wage for doing very little work. And they want the prestige of being a politician in the West. In the East here, people work for their money. The politicians do a good job, or they're out on their ass. It's the way it is. What has this got to do with freedom? Well, it's back to that old thing that you've got to vote these people in the West. Okay, you vote them in, whether it's good for your area of the country or not. It's all got to do with the number of votes these people get. The majority wins. Democracy at its best. Yes, and if you're from a place that doesn't have a lot of people, democracy is not a good thing. So if you're from rural China, sure, it's taken a while for them to get pulled out of poverty. They're the last ones to get pulled out of poverty. But you know what? They're doing it. They're pulling these people out of poverty. They're freeing these people. Yes. In my mind, that's exactly what they're doing. They're freeing them from being poor, being uneducated, having a terrible place to live, working too hard. They're freeing them from all of these things. And what's happening to people like the Albertans and the Saskatchewan people that had a really good life and high wages and stuff? Now they're unfreeing them. They're taking things away from them. How dare you have a $400,000 house and work in the oil rigs and make that kind of money? They're going backwards. They're taking stuff away from people in the West, not giving it to them. So in China, they're freeing the poor, and in the West, they're making more poor. I've been getting lots of comments on my channel, and you know, things are going really good for the channel. Getting 150 subs every day. I've never seen anything like it. But a lot of the comments say, Guilao, you're happy again. You're way happier than you were in Canada. You're more interesting because you like your surroundings. Well, that's all got to do with this freedom thing. I feel free here. I feel better here in China than I do in Canada. I don't have the stress. I don't have the high payments on all of the things that I talked about before. I don't have... When I want to go to a restaurant, I don't have to think, oh God, it's going to be $150 frickin' dollars for supper, and then I got to give the girl serving us, you know, a $15 tip, 10%, and then they look at you sideways because they want 15% tip. Tips never came in until the 30s, guys, when the restaurants couldn't afford to hire staff, so the staff would work and hope that the people that ate in the restaurants would give them a tip, and that's how they made money. Oh, what pissed me off, I was in Chase, BC. Went to a Chinese restaurant, yes, and the owner lady of the Chinese restaurant, we ate there, and she says, and I wasn't going to give her a tip because she's the owner of the restaurant. You tip staff, you don't tip the owners. And she says, I require a 15% tip on all my things. And I thought, you bitch, you know what I mean? Like, it's what if you're the owner, why don't you just up your price on your food 15% and just say no tipping? Your customers would be happier. But just things like this that stress people out, where it's cost me too much to go out and eat, so you know, you got to cook at home more. And it's the freedom of being able to go to good restaurants. That's what I'm trying to say here. The freedom of going to the hot pot. Oh, you're gonna love Grandma's. I did a thing on Grandma's. It's a restaurant here in town. You know, but the street food, like in the morning we go out for breakfast, and a lot of the places where you go, and there's little baos over here and there's rice noodles over here. It's sort of like eating dim sum on the street for $1 here and $1 here and $1 here. It's the freedom of being able to go and eat all different types of food instead of going to a restaurant, bacon and eggs, ham and eggs, frickin' McGriddle, or an egg and cheese and bun, and you know what I mean, you guys, and a coffee. You know what I mean? There's no soy milk, there's no bubble tea, there's no tea, it's just coffee, bacon, eggs, toast, bun. You know what I mean? So like the freedom of the freedom of the cuisine, I guess. You know, and that's morning, noon, and night too. Here it's just friggin' amazing. It's a little cloudy here today, and the humidity is like 100%. It was cold this morning. It was like 20 degrees Celsius. Oh, and it's like just about the end of October. And when it gets really here, I'll turn around. When it gets humid here, you can hardly see because the air is so thick. That's not pollution, guys. That's humidity in the air. I love it here. It's good for my beautiful skin. And that's another video from Greylow60. If you like this video, as always, like, comment, subscribe, push that share button, and hit the bell. Thanks for watching. Bye now.